Hi, I'm Sean,
Hi, I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. We want to thank all of you who listened and subscribed on last week and welcome you to this week's episode titled Our Drama Becomes Our Kids' Karma. All right, so let's get
All
into
right.
it. Yes, tonight we're going to shift gears a little and talk about something we've mentioned in almost all of our episodes how our adult drama affects the children in blended families and relationships. How negative relationships between parents affect sibling relationships, or how some kids, the mother and fathers, they never meet each other. You may have
Mhm.
a child with this person, and you may have a child with that person, but those moms have never met, or those fathers have never met. We want to talk about, the importance of that kind of being an issue and unhealthy for the kids. I know, Shannon, that we're the only baby mama. I'm the only baby mama on your son's side. But in my
Yeah.
case, I have other kids, and we have other baby mamas in the picture. So, and I also know your husband has kids with his previous wife. We
Right.
touched on that a little.
Yep.
So, that you were able and instrumental in helping them get along. So, we just kind of want to express the importance of that, and how it
Hmm.
can potentially have an effect on the kids.
Right. And understanding too, how our interactions can continue generational curses. And we don't like that. We don't like that phrase. And I know we're
But
trying to
it's a
get away
fact.
from that, but
But
it's
it's
a
a fact.
fact.
It's a
Yeah,
fact.
because we see the cycle every day. We see it every day. I go
Mhm.
into, neighborhoods of where I came from, here in the South, wasn't a great neighborhood. And so when I go back to visit that neighborhood and I see the cycle of, the baby mama drama, the baby daddy drama, all, everything that you see played out on the news and on TV or whatever, it's all right here
Happening.
in this neighborhood. Yeah. And
Still
so if
happening.
people could realize that, yeah, if you can if you can behave differently as an adult, and I understand that a lot of these mothers are young mothers. So they're being adults when they're really only 15, 16 years old with children.
Yes. Mhm.
But if we can provide some type of answer or
Guidance.
antidote or guidance, yes, great words,
Mhm.
Sean. Yes, if
Mhm.
we can provide that to help you see that all of this nonsense that you're experiencing, at such a young age, the if you can recognize now, if you continue it, it's going to follow you. It's going to follow you, your children. It's going to follow your grandchildren, and so on and so on. So, we
Right.
want to get away from that.
And even not even all drama, it's the effect of also. It's like my second child's father. He's children with other women. Two of them I've never met. Like I could walk past them in the grocery
Oh,
store or mall
wow.
to this day, and I can tell you who they were. And when I had my child in my late 20s, it wasn't a big deal because I wasn't with her father. The thing we talked about, a buddy. It was a buddy, I wasn't with her father.
Mm,
We had a small stint of a relationship, but when I got pregnant with her, we wasn't even together. It was just like it was a jump off night, right? But I had already had
mhm.
dealings with him. I was lonely. And one thing, we were at a party and you know what? We got a baby. So now we have this child and he has these other kids. And to this day, like I said, I have no idea who these women are. These women have no idea who I am. And somehow though, the kids do know each other. And while writing my book, and co-hosting this show, I realize now in the scheme of things how unhealthy that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
not for he and I per se, not for me and the women, but for our children. But thank God,
Right.
like I said, they do get along. They all know each other, and he was kind of helpful in that because he would bring the kids over to see my daughter, and we got connected that way. And I love all the kids, like they're my babies. But I couldn't tell you
Mhm.
who some of their mothers were if I walked past them right now.
Right, right. And it's good to look back and reflect on, how you could have done things differently, but yet it
Right.
it still worked out great or good for you, your kids that they all know each other and they get along. Um, but to make a conscious decision is what we're hoping we can get across to the young people today. Make a conscious decision to get along. Make a conscious decision to have your kids connected make a conscious decision not to act a fool in front of your children.
Right. Well,
Um,
I missed the mark on that one a couple of times, but I mean, like I said though, being older now, I realize that. But I ain't gonna get
yeah,
up here and
yeah,
people
yeah,
hear this and be like, "Oh no,
yeah.
she lying." They used to fight all the time. It was one little, it was a little dusty one. I didn't fool with her, and she always had some foolishness to say. So me and her girl, we did not click. I had to run down on her a couple of times, but I in the scheme of things, like I said now, I realized how
Uh-huh.
crazy that was. But that wasn't so much as, oh, you got him. I want it was the mouth and the disrespect. Things I know to walk away
Yeah,
from now. That it
yeah.
wasn't cause, my daughter shouldn't have been privileged to see that kind of thing. But again,
Mhm.
I was in my late 20s. I was old enough to know better, but still unlearned as I am today as a
Right,
47-year
right.
old wife. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but thank God our kids still get along. All the siblings are cool. But girl, I missed it a couple of times, like I said.
Yeah.
So I hope that we can bring that part up. Like you said, it's a lot of young moms. Maybe even stopping some of the young girls from being mothers with this show,
Mhm.
and realizing the importance of
Right.
I do and all the other things we've said. But
Mhm.
any drama, if you already have those kids, any drama that you bring will definitely eventually leak off into your children.
Yeah. And on the flip side, too. I got to go on the flip side. So if you're the wifey and not the baby mama, you're walking into a situation, you don't have kids invested and you're part of the drama. You're causing it or you're some type of instigator in the situation. I want those women to think about, you know,
What they're
what are
doing
you
to the
doing to these
children.
children? Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
not thinking,
That's
you're
right.
thinking about you and this man. It's just you and this man in the world because you're selfish. You're all about
Mm,
this or whatever. You don't want this man to think that you care about his children. Of course, you tell him, "Oh, I love your children. Oh, I can't
yeah.
wait for, these babies are mine or whatever." But you're acting, a fool or whatever in front of them. So you don't care about this child. So, or these children, or whatever's going on in this man's world, what was going on before you came there. And then once you're in it, don't say anything. If he has an issue with his baby mama and their children, let them work that out. Stay out of
I
it. Just
I heard
oh,
Joel Osteen say, I think in a couple of days ago, he said, if you can't say anything nice, at least be quiet.
be
So if
quiet.
you don't have anything to bring to that
Mm,
situation, just be quiet.
be
Don't
quiet.
create further turmoil for those parents. Like you said, let them work it out however they need to work it out.
Mhm.
But don't add
Yeah.
to the drama.
Yeah, because we've seen so many times where it's a blended family and the stepmom, wants to be all up in the whatever. It's like
Right.
if it's not really impacting you and if it's not impacting your household, your bottom line, whatever,
Your
um,
bills, your
it's
money, just it don't
exactly.
concern you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
don't
doesn't
concern you.
concern you. Stay
Don't
out
create it.
of it. Don't
And
create more
yeah,
drama.
and
Hmm.
even though like my kids were born out of wedlock, like I said, I was unlearned, but I still, even at a young age, growing up, in a crazy environment like I did, I still knew the importance of sibling bonding. I have brothers and sisters from my stepdad. He had 3 children when he married my mom. I was like 3 or 4, I think, when they started dating, and then they eventually got married. But honey, I'll go to war for them. We don't have a drip of blood
Uh,
running through our bodies,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
bond that we share outweighs DNA.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's why I know that it can be done. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
I'm sure our parents probably had a word or two. Their mother, my mother, my stepmother. I told you last week how my mom and my mom would just bother my stepmother. My stepmom was sweet. She just was quiet, and she's just like, okay. And like you said about you, Shannon, some people probably took that as weak or passive, but that's just who she
Mhm.
was. She wasn't confrontational, and eventually, guess
Mhm.
what? Because she continued to stay quiet and not engage, she and my mother eventually got along.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Oh,
you got to just get by to get along, and eventually it'll work itself out.
right.
And again, by all
Right.
means, don't roll over. I need
Right.
anybody to
Right.
understand, as saved as I am on this good day of May, I don't roll over for nobody. But I do
Right.
try to
Right.
keep peace at all costs.
Yeah. Yeah. And when there is disrespect, blatant disrespect, I don't care if it's from the, wifey, baby mom, whatever side it comes from, just understanding that you have to choose how you deal with that. Because just because you're trying to be the good one, it's not always gonna mean that you're gonna get that, back. People are
Right.
not gonna reciprocate or what's the
Reciprocate.
word?
Reciprocate.
Reciprocate. There you go. There you go. Thanks, Sean. Reciprocate the consideration and respect that you're giving. They're not going to give
Right.
that back to you. And if they're not giving it back to you, um, you have to choose how you're going to react to that, and hopefully choose the proper path.
Right.
Um,
And I keep
t-
hearing you use that word choose, Shannon. I'm gonna go like a little different direction with this.
mhm.
When you have drama, sometimes that makes the kids or forces the kid to choose between the parents when things go left.
Oh, that's
You
true.
know,
That's
I
true.
mean,
Hmm.
sometimes it's just no wins in a relationship. We both had enough
Yeah.
relationships to know that sometimes you just
Yeah.
have to call it quits because there's nothing there. It's nothing you can do to make it work, and you just decide it's over. The situation's impossible, right? So
Right.
normally the kid is going to go with one parent or the other. You may have some kind of co-parenting arrangement, but in for the better part, the child is basically mainly placed with one person, right? Don't be
Hmm.
that parent because you were fortunate enough to get the child. Don't be that parent that chooses to pit the child against the other parent. And that usually happens when the one parent who's not ready to let go is forced to let go.
Oh,
Oh, your
yeah.
daddy ain't this, your mama
Yeah.
ain't that. More often than
Yeah.
not, that scorn partner make things hard for everyone, including the kids. And
Hmm.
those kids are stuck
Hmm.
in the middle, and
Right.
may even end up disliking the other parent because this one parent wants to play victim. This
Yeah.
people is our drama becoming our kids' karma. We
Hmm.
can't do that.
Exactly. Right. And I made a point, not, and people will probably say, "Oh, she keeps patting herself on the back." I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying I made a point of not talking negatively about my son's father to my son. I wanted
That's
him to
absolute. Yep.
always think highly of him no matter what. you know. So other than the fact that, the material things, when my son would ask for certain material things, I would say, "Oh, you just like your dad. You want what? What you want?"
I think
That
they all got that. Even the little one now, honey, got that. They got that honest. Even the little one wants that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a
So,
DNA
so
trait. That was nothing
right, right. So that's the only negative I would ever bring up. Like, come on
they
now.
they
Um,
want the finest of the finest with no job, okay?
right,
I'm
right.
with you on that, baby.
and
They got that honestly.
and
And not
want to
even just
brag
from
about
their
everything they got too.
not just from their father. That comes from that side of the family. They top notch, baby. So
Oh
they
yeah,
got it
top
like
notch.
yeah, they got it both ways. They got it from their daddy and this people. They
Right,
fine.
right.
They like to dress fine, baby, and drive fine. So we can't really
Uh-huh.
blame the kids. They got it on.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
important though what you said. You didn't exude that negativity or heartache or whatever you got
Mhm.
going on. Even if it's the
Yeah.
worst parent in the world, Shannon, it's still not our
Yeah.
place to say to your daddy ain't nothing or your mama ain't nothing.
Right.
They could be the
Exactly.
most
Yep.
horrible parent in the world, but never
Mhm.
put your child in a place to say, oh well, my mom said this about you. I think that is
Yeah.
horrible.
Right. I think it's horrible. Yeah. And for people that use their children as pawns too,
Yeah,
that's another thing. Keep them away from you until you
because you
give
don't
me
want
what I
me no
want,
more.
whatever. Mhm. Yeah, I won't let you see this child. Or,
Drama.
you know, I'm I'm going to keep you away from, special occasions or whatever. It's unnecessary. So we just, want you all to think about the children and how they're impacted, and not only just impacted today, but for generations on. You could say, "Oh, they'll be all right." I went through it. A lot of people will say that. "Oh, look how I grew up. I went through it."
It
But a
doesn't
lot
make
of
it
us
right
that went through, right, it doesn't make it right. And then you also turn around and do the same thing, you
to your
know,
children.
in
Yep.
some form. Yeah, it might not be to the extreme that you experienced it, or it might be a slight version of what you experienced, but it still causes the same amount of harm to the
That's
children.
it. And I mean, I have to always put this out there because I know it's great and it's the most healthiest thing to do to allow kids and their parents to have relationships. But now listen,
Mhm.
never put your child in danger. I don't care if it's the kid's mother, the father, the grandma, the preacher, or the
Mhm.
pope. Never allow
Mhm.
anyone to put your child in harm's way and mistreat them. Now, I'm not saying that. Don't miss me on that. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, if the dad and mom, you know, because they have some terrible patterns or whatever, as far as being a dad or financially supporting them, I learned with my second child, just oh God, girl, I don't know. He's not a bad person, He and I actually get along very well. But I'm just gonna tell you, he wasn't the best father to her growing up. And
Mhm.
whatever went on between he and I never discussed it with my daughter. I never did. I
Um,
never I mean, girl, I can get on the phone with my sister or my mama, even his mama, and give him the
mhm.
biz. What
Mhm.
little Scrappy say? I would give him the biz naive, so another grown person. But I didn't give
Right,
it to
right.
my daughter. Oh, he wasn't
Right,
worth a dirt
right.
he walked on. But
Yeah.
I let my daughter grow up. You know what I did? I allow him to see her when he wanted to take her wherever he
Mhm.
wanted to, lie to her when he wanted to. However he did it. When she grew up, she said, Mom, my father he's not a good dad. I said, well, baby, he's still your dad.
Oh.
And she said
Mm.
at an age where she could understand, but you know what, Mom? I never went without. No matter how many times he lied to me or let me down,
Um,
you were always there. And I never went without
mm,
anything. I let my daughter grow up to see that Mama got your back no matter what. You'll be
right.
all right, and she
That's
formed
right.
her own opinion. Now, at her age,
Mhm.
it's for he and her to work it out. Mama's out of it. I did my job. You understand? She done walked the
Right.
stage, baby. She grown. So whatever y'all got going on at this point, I still tell her though, talk about that with your father. You will not take it to
Yeah.
social media. You will not take it to the phone to the streets. You deal with your father
Mhm.
because I still snatch your
Mhm.
liver because you will respect your father at all costs. All my children
That's
know
right.
that. If it's any
Yeah.
bad mouthing to be done or any getting down to be getting down, I'll get with them on a personal parent level. But you as a child
That's
will
right.
always respect your father.
Mhm. Yep, I'm with you there. I am with you there. And that's the interesting thing too, Sean, as we're doing this podcast, I love it that even though we've known each other for such a long time, n- learning these details about each other just
Exactly. The intimate
makes our,
details.
yeah, yeah, it makes our bond even stronger. And I appreciate that about you.
And I
Um,
appreciate that about you as well, sister.
yeah, it's,
You
to
you
be
gotta be able to keep it real. You can't help
keep it
anyone
real,
if you don't keep it real.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And even though there's not a lot that we're saying here that's oh so controversial or whatever, but I know that we're probably gonna piss off a couple folks every now and again. So hey,
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
yeah,
My motto.
exactly.
You've been knowing me long enough to know that on. Tell the truth,
Right.
shame the
Yep.
devil. Because if
Yep.
I'm not, let me tell you something. If I'm not hiding from God, I'm not gonna hide from
Yeah.
anyone. He knows
Right.
every hair in my head. He knows every detail
Mm-hmm.
about me.
Mm.
I could care less what anyone else thinks. But I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get on here and say
Yeah.
anything to harm anybody or anything that I haven't been through myself that I can't speak on.
Right. Right. Yeah. So if anyone is offended by anything that we say, just
We
know
don't
we're
mean
just
that.
speaking our truth. Yeah, we're just speaking our truth. So, um, and we're here to, uh, offer, what we've learned and hopefully give some insight to people that are dealing with, similar situations or even situations where they just need some type of, guidance on how to react, even if it's not baby mama drama. It could be any other situation
Any
where you
kind of
need a
drama.
cool head. Yeah, where
That's
you
it.
just need to understand how to keep a cool head. So
That's
that's
it.
where we
But
are.
our focus tonight is to remember people. Our
Yeah,
drama becomes our kids' karma, and we want to avoid that at all
exactly.
costs. All
Absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to
Yeah.
go into our red line topic for tonight.
All right, our red line.
Yes, today's red line topic is from our WBM winner of the month. This is our
Woohoo! Our
first
very
winner. I know.
first.
Yes, yes, it came around so fast. I can't believe it. But
I know.
yeah, Shannon and I chose a winner from our wifey and baby mama at gmail.com account. This one comes from Ty. And unfortunately, we failed to mention that. We would like you guys to include like your state or city, just so we'll know where you're writing from. But
Mhm.
Ty, from the title, I hope you know who you are. The title is Don't Call My House at the 9 p.m. Okay, now that's it. That's the post, as you young people say. She didn't say anything else. Don't call my house at the 9 p.m. So we don't have much to say as to the source or as of the reason why she wants to call her. And I want to be
Mhm.
careful now, not to put words in anybody's mouth. I don't know what she meant here. I would just
Mhm.
personally say, since Red Line, is my segment, I took this as to have some respect. I like to make a
Yes.
lot of references. This one
Yeah.
goes to Birdman. Put some respect on my name.
Right. Right.
And I could imagine Ty meant an ex, baby father, mother, maybe just a friend.
Yeah.
Who knows? However
Yeah.
it goes, she said, "Don't call her house at the 9 p.m." Now, with me,
Mhm.
any of my real friends, Shannon and family knows it's a pattern. They know my love language is all my peeps. Don't call me after 8:30 unless it's an emergency. Somebody better be bleeding because after 8:30, I shut it down up in here. So after 10:30, I know
Mhm.
I'm about to be looking for the nearest exit, even if I'm out. So if 8:30 I'm home, don't
Right.
call my house. I'm laying it down. Even if I'm out in an engagement party at 10:30, you about can believe I'm looking for the next exit. So, and I'm a wife, a mother, crime fighter, counselor, referee for the kids all day. When me and mine lay down, get somebody else to do it. Don't call my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Don't call my house late for nothing. Nothing non-emergency. So
Right.
Ty, again, I don't know what this specifically meant, but I
Mhm.
definitely felt this one in my spirit, honey. So
Yeah. Yeah.
kudos to you, Ty. So tell her what she's gonna be winning, Shannon.
Kudos to that. Yeah, she gets that $100 gift
Yes.
card. Congratulations, Ty, on your gift card. You will
Yes.
see it soon. But one thing I did want to add to that, though, if you said after 9 p.m., but I think respect can also be early morning, like for me. If you,
Right.
well, for let me go back. If you call me after 9 p.m., 9 times out of 10, I won't even hear the call because I'm old. I'm not going to even hear the phone. I won't even hear the phone ring. So good luck with that. But early mornings, like Saturday mornings, people know, family and friends, don't call me before 10 a.m. Please.
Hmm.
I just need a time, even if I'm not sleeping, I just need that little bit of time or whatever to,
From the
you
week,
know,
from your crime fighting
yeah,
and
yeah,
your
yeah.
working and cyberspace and yeah, husband cooking.
Right,
Yeah, we all
right,
need
right,
it.
right. Yeah. And when I think about what Ty said too, in the short sentence or whatever, even when it applies to the I don't know, the baby mama. Say this is specifically for the baby mama. The baby mama does have to respect that as well. If it's not an emergency,
Non-emergency. Yes.
don't just be calling just to call, we have touched on that a couple of times before too, but I think that's something to keep in mind because you're gonna only cause drama, just
It's a
just
known fact.
keep the peace.
Keep the respect.
All right. Keep the oh yeah, the respect and the peace. So once again, congratulations to Ty, our first winner. We are so excited and we're
Yes.
happy with the submissions that we're getting, and we
And
want
keep them
to
coming.
remind everyone to keep them coming. Send them to wifey and baby mama at gmail.com. And these are your red lines, things that you say would be a line that people shouldn't cross, whether it's a baby mama relationship or not. So we thank you for your submissions. All right, now we're on to the fictional family I'm feeling. The fictional family I'm feeling this week. They are the Kyles. Everyone remembers the Kyles from My Wife and Kids, starring Damon Wayans. And Tisha Martin Campbell or Tisha Campbell Martin. I always say her last name wrong, but love that franchise. And the episode that really gets me tonight is the kids are fighting. They're screaming at each other, the oldest daughter and the oldest son, because the oldest daughter bedazzled his basketball jersey, and he has it on. And not only did she bedazzle it, she even cut a V-neck in it. So I mean, it looked crazy. But anyway, he's like, "Why did you do this to me?" And she says, "Weren't you cut from the team?" And he says, "I wasn't, but I will be now if I wear this, whatever." So they're screaming, and then the youngest little baby comes in. She has to be, I don't know, if I had to guess, 6, 7 years old, and she's screaming. They're all screaming, "Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!" And then Damon comes in, the father, Mr. Kyle, and he sits them down, the two oldest ones, and he sits them at the table. He said, "You sit here, you sit there. Now I want you to look at each other and come up with 3 reasons why you like each other apiece, 3 apiece, why you like each other. And you're going to sit here. You're not allowed to get up until you come up with these 3 reasons as to why you like each other."
Hmm.
And my take from that is that's a form of conflict resolution. Of course, it probably wouldn't work in most of our households, but it was just a way to say, "Okay, let's figure out how to do things differently." They're at each other's throat. They're telling each other, "You shut up, you shut up, you shut up, you're this, you're that," or whatever. And he simply sits them down, say, "Look at each other." And that's setting an example to show
Absolutely.
them, how do you resolve conflict without foolishness. We don't
Right.
need the foolishness. So generation after generation after generation will understand this is how we resolve conflict. We sit down and figure out why we like each other.
And Shannon, I'll share an intimate detail. Like you said, as we do this show, we're friends, we can hang out, we can go eat, have a drink, have a laugh.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
something I will share with you, that's how hubby and I used to talk to each other. When we came back together, he was so defensive and I'm so boisterous, and I still thank God and I know it's all God that we are even together today in peace. But for the first few years, that's how we dealt with stuff. We wanted to see who could get the loudest. And you know what that taught our kids?
Yeah.
That taught our kids to be loud. And that's how we so I would get to talking to
Mm.
them and then they would get loud. And I'm like, who you think you talking to? But then I had to make
Right.
myself sit down and understand that's all they hear all day between you and their father. So I had to
Yeah.
go to him. We had to come together and say, hey, this is not how we're going to deal with things. We got taken in the garage. And sometimes, we need a good screaming match. We'll get in the car, we take a ride.
Mhm.
We'll go in the garage. We had to learn to stop interacting with between each other in front of our kids that way because we saw them being boisterous and we looking like we didn't stop arguing like we about to knock somebody about to get knocked the heck out of in here. Like, cause who y'all talking to? But that's all they saw for
Right,
the first
right.
few years. And now, guess what? We hug it out and they hug it out and we had to just learn, everything ain't hunky
Yeah.
dory. We still have them out, but we don't do it in the
Oh yeah.
presence of our children. And usually after a good screaming match, we can be like, all right, we good. Let's go listen to some music. We good now. So
Mhm.
I'm not saying you
Yeah.
won't ever have another conflict or you won't ever have it out, but just don't do it in front of the kids. We had to learn to not do it in front of our children.
Oh yeah, there would definitely be conflict, because we are individuals with our
Right,
individual brains, we don't
right.
all think alike. So it's okay if there's conflict. It's about how
How
we
we
deal with
handle
that
it.
conflict. Yeah, conflict
Right.
resolution.
All
So
right.
that
Okay, I feel
yeah, so that is the fictional family I'm feeling this week, the Kyles.
all right.
Um, so we have come to the end of our broadcast tonight. We want to thank you once again for tuning in and being supporters of this broadcast and of Shannon and
Yes.
Sean. We
Thank
love
you
you all
guys
and
so
we
much.
want you to, yes, thank you so much. Like our Facebook page, you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, um, and we're on all platforms. So we look forward to next week and 7:30 next week. It's a new episode, and we will, of course, let you know in advance what that episode is now. Thanks to Sean, she will give you a heads up. She will give
So
you a
follow
heads
the
up.
pages so that you'll have a heads up
Follow.
on what to listen for.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you all. Until next week.
Love you.